adapted to change in some sort of ways. When we talk of cinematography, photography, they've adapted to change. They've studied humans and understood, okay, this is how people want to do this thing now. And they sort of changed or tweaked their work so that it can work with the way people are now. So I feel like if poets or authors or writers can change in order for people to be able to adopt their work, there won't be any form of resistance.
Yeah, definitely. So actually, as an international student myself, I'm really interested in learning what are the difficulties that you guys face when trying to publish like your book in the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, of course. And Gadia, if you could go first, please.
Okay, so I self-published my book online with KDP, hosted by Amazon. So when I was publishing my book, I didn't have any issues. It's simply online and you can just do it easily. But the only issue I had was bringing my book down to Cyprus. Usually, I think Turkey has some kind of restrictions to the kind of books that can be imported into their country. And my book didn't fit or didn't match with those restrictions. So my book wasn't allowed to come into the country. And it was just a few days to my book launch and I was so upset because I couldn't get my book to Cyprus. So I ended up printing it at a local printing place in Cyprus just to manage. But the only issue I had was not being able to bring my book all the way to Cyprus. That was the only issue. And that was because they had restrictions on the kind of books they allow into Turkey. Apart from that, I didn't really have any other issue because publishing was majorly online. I had an editor that would edit it for me. I designed my cover image by myself. And marketing, obviously, I did that by myself as well. So the only issue is having to send your book down to Cyprus. And for a local publisher to get a publishing deal, I didn't actually think of that until when I wanted to do my book launch. But so far, I haven't really seen a very, very strong local publisher that would sign you or give you a publishing deal. I don't think it's available in TRNC for international students.
Mm-hmm.
In order to answer this question, we have to look at Cyprus from a general perspective and from a personal perspective. On a general perspective, Cyprus is a largely Turkish-speaking nation, meaning that if you would get a publishing deal, it would not be related to maybe your race or something, but related to the language with which that book will be published. That's number one. Number two, are the people actually ready to adapt or to read their book? To answer number two, I feel like if the opportunity is available, it would be easy to get a publishing deal because I had some locals buy my book. They didn't even understand, they didn't even know what was in the book, but they bought the book. That's to show that there's some sort of adoption in terms of foreigners or students publishing books in Cyprus. So I didn't encounter any racial difficulty or any kind of thing with that. But is it available? Are there publishers that will actually give students publishing deals? It is very, very possible. If Near East can adopt an artwork by a Nigerian student, I feel like any other student can write a book and get a publishing deal. It's possible in Cyprus. It is.
So, yes. Yeah, so Maria, I actually read your book last week, The Sting of a Stifled Heart, and I really enjoyed it. And with poetry, it's like it can be interpreted in different ways. So I just wanted to know, what is an ideal reader for you?
Thank you for reading the book. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I think the ideal reader is someone who is, I'm not saying who doesn't like to read, but someone who wants to read, but they only have like time for short reads, or someone who isn't. It's simple. It's for someone that can simply read it and simply understand it and apply it to their life without having to go into you know, the deeper understandings of literature. So I think the ideal reader is just your everyday person. If you have time for a light read or something that's going to stick with you when you walk through life, I think that'll be the ideal reader. People who generally like Pinterest quotes and people who like Instagram, because the style of poetry that I chose was Instagram poetry because I want it to relate to people. Because when I use like Instagram poetry sites or Pinterest, they can change my whole mood. If I read something that changes, like it can change my whole mood. And I feel like that happens to a lot of people. If you're in a bad space and you read something in a newspaper or you read something in a book, you could just be like, oh, hey, wait, that's me. And then you snap out of it. So I think people that can easily identify themselves when they look at a piece of text, that would be my ideal reader. I think poetry has a touch of realism in it. Even if it's fictional to me, like the person that reads it might find a personal story that relates to it. The thing with books is, I mean, books are great, don't get me wrong. They could be far fetched like a murder mystery, but what are the chances that you would have been in such a situation where you find the neighbor's body or you murdered someone? But when you read poetry, there's a higher chance of you relating to the content. So I encourage people to read it because sometimes you don't know how to express yourself, but then you find like a quote or a piece of writing that helps you express how you feel. So if you're looking for ways to describe your situation or your life, I think you should definitely read more poetry because you'll find something that is definitely relatable.
So, yes, definitely. I related a lot, and I know that you and I are completely different people, and you probably had your own motivations to writing what you wrote, but I related to it, and I just love poetry for that reason. It's so diverse. So, my next question actually is for Godia. You mentioned that the main hurdle you had with publishing your book was actually getting it into Cyprus, but I just wanted to know, woman to woman, did you face any challenges due to your gender while publishing your book?
No, I didn't. I didn't face any challenge. I didn't. No.
That's comforting to know.
Oh, okay. Okay. So basically, I write motivational and self-help kind of books, and it's because I kind of relate to people who have gone through stages of um, low self-esteem, trauma in general. So I write for people who can relate to that, people who have had traumatic childhood experiences and they are struggling with their confidence, they are struggling with their self-image and all that stuff. So I'm into psychology. I love psychology. I love how people think. So I try to write stuff that would help people in some way because you can't really change someone. But I've read a lot of self-help books, and even if they haven't changed me, they have changed the way I see the world. So when you have someone who has gone through trauma write to you about trauma, you understand that okay, I'm not the only person that has gone through this. There are other people that are going through this, and you feel some sort of support kind of because you notice that okay, you're not the only person going through that. Everyone is going through it. So my ideal reader is someone or anyone who has issues with their self-esteem, issues with their confidence, and issues with their self-image. In terms of age, it will be teenagers and young adults because they are at a point in their life where things are changing. They are meeting new people, new friends, going to different places. So they are always having issues with self-esteem. They're always having issues with their self-image. So those are my ideal readers between that age. That does not mean that older adults and old people are not involved. There are people who have, advanced in age and yet they are not able to clearly define who they are, and they still have issues with confidence and self-image as well. I believe that I can help them in some way with with my words and with the way I'm able to communicate my message. So those are my ideas. Thank you. Thank you.
Um, yes and no. Yes, mostly yes. Definitely mostly yes. And I think the reason why it's such a wide range is because it's not like I sat down at one go and wrote everything. Like sometimes I just wake up and I feel a certain way, I would write something. So it's stuff that I've been writing over the years, actually. So when it was time to do the book, it wasn't like I was sitting down at the time. It was just a compilation. Like, okay, maybe I'll put this one. I should leave this one out. I should put this one out. Otherwise, the book would have been like 100 pages. But then I read like the ideal poetry book is like 30 something pages, so I had to cut it down. So definitely real life experiences. Sometimes it's not all the things that happen to me. Sometimes I see a friend in a situation and I'd be like, if you would listen to my advice. And then I'm like, let me just write the advice as a poem. So yeah, real life events really do inspire my writing.
All right. So, Gadia, let's say that there's somebody in the TRNC right now, an international student that wants to publish a book. What advice do you have for them?
Okay. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. So first off, I have a free ebook on self-publishing. In case anyone wants to read that, it's free and you can get it online. There are a lot of questions you will have to ask yourself before publishing, and there are many things I didn't know. Before publishing, the most important thing is to have your cover image in check and to also have your editing in check. Like, it will save you a lot of stress. If you have edited that book and you believe that it's good to go, then you're halfway through the process because you've done everything. If you're going to be publishing online, you need to have a tax identification number. It's called TIN for short, and you can get it from your home country. I don't know if it's available in Cyprus. I guess it is, but for the locals usually have their tax identification number. But for students, you have to get it from your home country. If your family has a business or your dad or mom is running a business, they can give you the tax identification number because you would have to complete a tax interview so that you can be paid royalties. This is similar for both ebooks and print books. It doesn't matter. As long as you're self-publishing online, you need a tax identification number. And apart from that, I think those are the major things you need. Your book cover should be checked. It should be beautiful. It should be able to attract people because that is what is going to speak for you. Your editing should also be top-notch because that is what people are going to read and that is how they are going to see you or understand what you're saying. And then have your tax identification number. And then have a phone, have internet, and you're good to go. But if you are publishing, if you don't want to if you don't want to publish online, using self-publishing method, you can just write your book, edit it, create a cover image, and go to any I call it a print shop or I don't know what they call it, but like Dennis Plaza and Co. You can go there, show them your design, and then if you find a good person, they will actually help you compile your book and help you print it. But your book would lack an ISBN, and that is how your book is internationally recognized. That ISBN number is very important. So you may need to purchase an ISBN online. For getting a publishing deal, I really don't know because I didn't get a publishing deal. But I held my book launch at Bustem Kitab. It's in City Center, and it's one of the oldest bookstores in Cyprus, and I believe that they are publishers as well. So you can reach out to them and see if they would give you a publishing deal. That is the only advice.
Well, I actually had to Google that this morning. I think it depends on who you publish with. The problem I had was that I didn't do my research 100%. So I thought I could just use KDP like everyone else. So when I tried to make my Amazon account, I couldn't because even though my book is free, they want like banking details and they don't recognize Turkish bank cards. So I couldn't use Amazon and KDP. So my whole copyright, my whole marketing thing, I had to rethink everything. So I'm using Smashwords now, and they say that they will protect your book, but you have to alert them if you feel like someone has copyrighted, also plagiarized. Sorry, someone has plagiarized your work. So it's basically like a trust system because they said if they put like digital, is it DRM? I forgot what that means. Like it restricts the book. Like some sites you can download a book for free, but you're not allowed to take screenshots of the book. It will literally pop up and say you can't do this. So they say that if they put that on books, people are less willing to read it. So it's basically the Smashwords website doing the best they can and trusting the reader, and then you will notify them if you feel like someone has used your work without asking you. I think it's a very sketchy system. Not sketchy. It's a bit. It's poetry. Who's gonna steal it? I'm more worried about the posts on Instagram of someone taking that from there. But when I sell my next book, then I'll be a bit more worried about it. But you can apply for copyright, and you have to like buy the application and all of that. So for the next book, I'll definitely look into that. But for now, I feel like trusting the customer and the website I use is good enough. Did I answer your question? Yeah, yeah, definitely. I have a lot because, like I said, with this book, when I found out the ideal pages are 35, I had to leave out a lot of things. So I've actually like grouped things into like a theme. So the first book is The Sting of a Stifled Heart, and the second book is The Homework of Heartbreak. So, and I already have the cover ready because the first cover, I had so many problems with that. It didn't accept my format, so I had to change the cover completely and use some free template from somewhere. So I already have my custom-made cover for my second book. And yeah, I think I'll definitely keep publishing poetry because I like writing that. It's simple. Fiction books, not yet, but yeah, definitely I'll have more books coming.
Before I answer the question, I just wanted to say, so can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Before I answer your question, I wanted to add to what Palmer said. Um, for KDP, just in case you want to publish next time, there is an application called Payoneer, and you can connect your local bank account to Payoneer, and it will give you a bank account for United States that you can use on KDP. It will be easier for you. So as soon as you are paid your royalties will be reflected in your local bank account with your local currency. So I think it's very good, just in case of next time. For the question you asked me, I'm a very emotional person. So when I write with my emotions per se, and I only write when I feel like there is a problem that people are not actually answering. So the reason why I wrote my book was because I had read a couple of books on self-improvement, self-discovery, and there was something they were not saying. It seems like it seemed like they couldn't relate to this generation, and what was they couldn't relate because everybody was writing on another frequency. So I needed a book that was honest, a book that would actually speak to people and be like, you know what, I go through this thing, we all go through it, you're normal, don't kill yourself. So that was why I wrote my book. So I would only write another book when I feel that there is a problem that nobody is answering or nobody is responding to. That's number one. Number two, I write on my blog. So in case I feel something or anytime I feel some kind of way, I just write it and post it on my blog. But to actually compile a book again, I must find a problem that I feel no one is answering. That is when I'll write another book.
Yeah, I'm more of like a personal writer as well, so today has just inspired me to be more consistent with my journal. That's basically it. So, what's next, Katri? Or yes, I have the yes. So basically, what we did was just ask like 12 questions, and we have three people that actually got all 12 questions, and the winners are. I'm sorry, my laptop is acting up. Kadri, sorry, my laptop just froze. Do you have it? Mm-hmm. I got like 2 out of 12. Oh, you're not gonna expose yourself. Or even normal people like us that don't really write.
Um, well, first of all, thank you for the advice on the KDB thing. I actually do have a Payoneer account, so I will look into like linking it to Amazon. And what's the name of your book? Sorry, I didn't. Maybe I was late. I didn't get the name of Cordia's book. Um, wait, what's the name? Finding me.
Oh, that's such a cute cover.
Okay, Palmer didn't finish talking. She was saying something. Are you fine? Can I continue?
Oh, you want me to finish first?
Yeah. Doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Let me wrap up. What did I want to say? Oh yeah, if you guys want to write publish a book, I think you have to have your marketing strategy intact before you even start writing. The places you're going to tell people to read your book and all of that. Unfortunately for me, quick story, I wanted to use my Instagram. Uh, I have a writing page strictly for Instagram. Oh, I have an Instagram page strictly for writing. Sorry, strictly for writing. And when I was getting to like market my book and everything, it got hacked. So like the followers that I have now and all that, it was really disappointing for me. So I had like my main outlet was let down. Make sure you have your marketing in intact first. Your marketing strategy, who you're going to sell it to, where you're going to promote it, your WhatsApp, your Instagram, your YouTube, your Facebook, all of that intact before you start, and your cover page. Besides that, I think just be you can take your time because, like Odia said, if you're an emotional writer and you only write when you feel something, it's best when someone can read your piece of work and be like, oh, that's something that she would say, or that's something that he would say. So, quarterly, don't rush yourself. If it's 3 pages today, it's 3 pages today. If it's 10 pages tomorrow, that's what it's going to be. As long as what you feel is on the paper, especially when you self-publish, you will be your biggest critic. So you have to be 100% happy with what you put out. Because if you give publishers, I've read articles so many times, if you give it to a publishing house, most of the times they could cut out the parts that mean the most to you, or they'll change the story. So when you write, just take your time and write from the heart, so that like 10 years down the line, you're not going to turn around and be like. And if you like journaling or like writing short stories, I think maybe once a week when you have time, especially since now in Cyprus, or like with COVID, there will be lockdowns. So maybe before you go to sleep or in the morning when your mind is still fresh and you haven't gotten into any of your problems for the day, then you can write probably in the morning when it's also quiet. Otherwise, I think that's all I can say. If you guys would like to read my book, it's called The Sting of a Stifled Heart. You can find it on Smashwords. You don't have to like make an account to join. You can just download it as PDF or ebook or anything like that. And you have it? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and yeah, if you want to follow me, my writing page on Instagram, I'm going to start posting again because I've sort of recovered my account. You can follow me at yours truly _writing, and all the best with your writing if that's what you're into. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you so much. I really agree with what Palmer said. So where do I start from? Okay, my book, the title of my book is Finding Me, Navigating the Road to Self-Discovery, basically. So it's really about self-discovery, about just discovering yourself and maybe knowing who you truly are, because everybody has different opinions about what the true self is. But I believe that I was able to like summarize a few things that would help people clearly define who they are and what they are about. And that is what my book is about generally. So, in terms of advice, yes, as you rightly said, you should take your time. Don't rush it. Don't rush it at all. Take your time. It might take you. My book is very small, but I've been writing my book since 2017. So I wrote that book for 3 years, just 50 something pages, but it took me 3 years to write that book. The second thing that is very important is editing. I cannot overemphasize how important it is. And why I'm emphasizing on that point is because I didn't spend enough time editing my book, and it affected me a lot. So I believe that for every writer, no amount is too much to pay an editor. No amount is too much to pay for proofreading. That is the best thing a writer can do, or an author, an aspiring author can do for themselves, to invest in quality editing and proofreading. I mean, when you're writing, when you're self-publishing because you want to save enough money, you don't want to spend too much. So you're using KDP and draft to digital and all that. But the person that is going to read that book is going to take note of every grammatical error and every spelling error. So it's one thing that I didn't really look into, but it is very, very important, and I actually regret that. Secondly, is to believe in yourself. I never knew that I would write a book. It was not something that I planned to do because I believed that my English was poor. From primary school to high school to university, I was not good in English at all. So I didn't believe that writing was for me. But I just felt like I had a message and I wanted people to hear it. I just had something in my heart that I wanted to put out there. And even with my blog, it's just, I feel this way. And I know that there are other people that feel this way too. And they can relate to how I feel. And that is why I'm writing. So I'm an emotional writer. So just believe in yourself. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter what you think about yourself. It doesn't matter what people think about you. As long as you believe that you have something to write and you know that you can write it, just write it. Your editor will do the grammatical work for you and your graphic designer will do the book cover for you. So just believe in yourself and write. That's the second thing. And then marketing, as Palma rightly said, marketing is very, very important. Writing is a business. Being an author, selling books is a business. As much as it is to impact people and for people to read and enjoy, it is a business. And you must have a strategy in order to sell your book and sell it well. So we have people that have written books that are bestsellers because they were able to manage or market their book properly. So I think that for anybody that's interested in writing, they should invest a lot in marketing in terms of understanding how they're going to sell their book and the strategies that they are going to use. Aside that, I don't think there is any other advice I can give. If you're interested in reading my book is available on almost all platforms online. It's available on Apple, KDP, that's Kindle, the Kindle version. That's in terms of ebooks. A lot of online libraries. The link is in my bio on Instagram, unfortunately. My Instagram is Godia with a double I. That's basically it. If you want a print book, you may have to order on Amazon. And if you're in Nigeria, I can easily just deliver it to you. That's basically it, in case there is any other questions I could answer.
No, just to say thank you for making it today and every of our guests as well. I'm sure just like your work, this life has been beneficial to some people. So thank you again for making it. Mm. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Bye.